What's going on, YouTubers? This is Harry, aka the Brand Builder, and today's video is how to stop living paycheck to paycheck, assets versus liabilities. I'm going to give somewhat of a detailed description on what this is, assets, and what liabilities are, and why it's important to understand it so that you can have a better comprehension of financial literacy. At least my definition of financial literacy, because I am not the be it, all say it, do it person, and I am not your supreme being. So all I can do is offer you my suggestions, but before I do that, I have to do a little bit of house cleaning. It's come to my attention that there's been some, and many, hacklers who, to some degree, have a very little appreciation for my videos. But one in particular, recently I had a viewer who, like other viewers who have a short attention span, asked me to get to the point. And I can't say it enough that the entire video is the point. Here's the problem with that. Before I get into my topic, I don't have the ability to change all the decisions you've made in life to live paycheck to paycheck in one day or in 20 minutes. And as far as I'm concerned, most of my videos don't even go over 30 minutes, but yet people will watch a 2-hour movie, yet they want me to get to the point when I try to make these videos as short as possible. So what are assets? Rant over, by the way. What are assets? Assets are properties, in my definition, actually properties or items that produce money or income or have value, or that can be transferred, right? Some examples of assets are stocks, bonds, bank accounts, rental properties, obviously, and items for which you intend to resell, right? So if you are in the e-commerce business and you sell items online, it's not exactly the entire business that is an asset alone. It's every single item in your business, right? Because if you trade stocks and you have more than one share, each and every share of that stock is an asset, right? So if you have 200 shares of stocks, you own 200 assets, right? Now, ownership of assets and having more assets, there's quantity and then there's value, and then there's many other different things that tie into that. And when you have quantity, and that quantity can scale a certain way. For example, I like to look at everything as a 10-year model, right? So everything has a 10-year profitability model, at least to me, in my opinion, right? So if you have an asset that you paid $10,000 for and produces about $5,000 a year, I'd say if it can produce that much for 10 years, it's worth $50,000 once you have it. If the model's been proven that that's what it generates. Like, for example, if you own a franchise corporation like a McDonald's, right? You know typically what a McDonald's can make per year. If you have 5 McDonald's, then you know typically what all 5 of your franchises can make, right? So assets can be broken down into value, quantity, and things like that. You can diversify your stock portfolio and say that your portfolio itself is an asset. You are allowed to do that because your portfolio has a certain net worth, right? Now, I explained it in some of my other videos what net worth is. Now, let's talk about what liabilities are. Liabilities are things that go out and do not produce you any income, right? So they're costs, such as groceries, cable bill, phone bill, rent, mortgage, and things like that. Now, some people may argue that, hey, I have a duplex home, right? And I'm renting out the other side of my home. Is my mortgage still a liability? The answer is yes, right? But the rental income is an asset. So the asset counters the liability. They're separate from each other. So you can't say that your house is 100% an asset because you live in one portion and you have to pay that mortgage. When your mortgage is done, when you've paid the mortgage off and you're only getting rent, then it becomes a complete asset. The entire house becomes an asset. But because you have a mortgage, yes, that is a liability. So car insurance, gas, fuel for your car, and many other aspects. If you have a car payment, like a lien on your vehicle, that's a liability as well. Habits are liabilities. A lot of different things are liabilities. A clothing allowance, that's a liability. Unless you, for example, some of those clothing items you purchase are for business purposes, but it's still kind of like cost when you think of it. So I wouldn't really call it per se a liability, but I would, because it doesn't recur. Things like groceries recur. Things like your cable bill recurs. Things like your phone bill recur. Your car insurance recurs. Your health insurance is recurring. So those are some of the things that are liabilities, right? So paycheck to paycheck, how does this take place? Now, this is just my opinion. I believe that society, for lack of a better term, because that is a very broad and ambiguous term when I utilize the word society. So society is set up where a majority of people are supposed to fail, right? According to our economic planogram, right? It's set up where most people are going to fail, right? Because we have a few things here, a few things that's evidence of that. And one of those things is that a majority of the wealth in this country belongs to a very, very, very small population of people, right? You have the 1%. They control all of the wealth in your economy, right? That's not just in America, that's worldwide, right? So a majority of people in the world are set up where they're in labor positions or working jobs and work in corporate America, and they have to trade their time for money, and they don't have enough assets to allow that to benefit themselves and gain some level of freedom. You know what I'm saying? So assets versus liabilities. Most people have more liabilities than assets. That's just the truth, plain and simple. You may get upset at this while watching this video. I apologize if it bothers you to hear that, but a majority of people have liabilities versus having assets. Is that the way that it should be? No. But it is my belief personally that from the time you're born in this country or anywhere else, most of the things that you're going to be taught aren't going to be beneficial to you economically, right? So some things will benefit you, and some things you can learn on your own without being taught, right? Because if a majority of Americans are poor, or a majority of people all around the world are poor, then when you intertwine with people and you socialize with people, a majority of the time you're going to learn from those people that you deal with. And what you're going to learn from them is some of their habits, some of the things they practice, and some of the things they do. So it's going to be learned behavior, right? And one of the reasons why I made this channel is because I have a firm belief that I genuinely care about people, right? I care about people enough that I hope that, my attempt in spreading this message here on YouTube would actually help enough people that I could feel good about what I'm doing. Because it's just like I said before, if I fail and I do not succeed beyond my imagination or anything, or if unforeseen circumstances stop me from reaching my goal, I would at least have contributed useful information to people. So assets versus liabilities. A lot of people are comfortable with residual liabilities, but not a lot of people are comfortable with residual assets that pay them. So I'm trying to be careful in this video because I did get some feedback from people telling me that it may be harder to understand what I'm saying in videos, or maybe the words or terms that I use are harder for some people to understand, and I apologize for that. That's why I always refer people to certain books, because this particular video, I learned a lot of this information from reading, not only Robert Kiyosaki's book, but this is some information that was taught to me by some family members. Like, for example, my great-grandmother and my grandmother taught me about these things when I was younger. So I got a real-world education from some members of my family about assets and liabilities, including stocks purchased on my behalf in my youth. So I'm very thankful for that. And what I say is, please, 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 do yourself a favor and look into gaining more assets versus having more liabilities, right? And once again, for example, I do a lot of sales online, right? I have an online store. I have other ways of making money online as well. And I have online services. I don't really advertise them because they're not in this particular genre of fashion. They're in consulting with particular small businesses and stuff like that. So I do some sort of services for small businesses. So what I'm saying is this: try to find a way to have more assets than liabilities. Some people want to reach for the sky and go for something a little bit higher up there, right? Like having rental properties. Well, most people won't be able to afford that. So one of the easiest things to do is, in your lifetime, while you're young and putting away money, if you can invest something along the lines of $1,000 and up to $5,000 and up to $10,000, by the time you have $10,000 invested, it's going to pay you in a way where after a certain amount of years, and if you can continue to invest that little bit of money, over and over and over again, you can benefit greatly. So just remember that. Assets versus liabilities. Never live beyond your means. Always try to have more assets than you have liabilities. All right? So sometimes another asset is your education or your knowledge or putting yourself in different situations or diversifying your portfolio. Or diversification knowledge is an asset, right? For every business that you create, an asset, an asset, an asset. So I'm going to end this video here. And I just wanted to talk about assets versus liabilities. You can read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad written by Robert Kiyosaki. And also, before I'm finished on that topic, there's Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's a pretty good one too. There's a lot of different books. There's a billionaire that I recently listened to, and he said something quite interesting. He said a lot of times people purchase books from people and they got rich by selling books. But he became a billionaire before he wrote his book. So you're getting it from the rags to riches story. And I don't remember his name, but if I figure it out, I'll probably put a link to it below. There's going to be a link for you guys that follow me on Twitter. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can go to the link below. I might have some other links to my other social media platforms. So get ready for that and have a good day, guys. And just remember, today is actually Thursday, so I have to record like 4 videos if I can and upload them. And please share these videos and subscribe and get your friends to subscribe. So if you're subscribed to this video, when you watch this video, I need you to do me a big favor because I'm really trying to get to 1,000 as fast as I can. And the reason why I want to touch 1,000 subscribers really quick is because I want to enhance this message, right? I want to give people juicier messages, and I'm actually deleting some of my older videos that aren't getting many views so that I can refresh the knowledge that I have. And I want you guys, if you have on social media, share this video on Twitter, on your Twitters, share it on your Facebook page, link it, show some friends, text some friends, share this video, share this channel, and work the best you can to help get subscribers. And I think I'm going to let you guys know this. There will be some rewards that I'm going to, and some incentives that I'm going to be doing pretty soon. But for now, I just want to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can start offering some of those incentives to people. So just do your best if you can to share the message, share this on your social media. Like, if you're coming across this, subscribe and then share. Even if you think you do not want to be subscribed to my channel, at least share it. It just takes one click. And share it with some of your friends or some people that you think may need this information. All right, thanks for the time that you invested in watching this, and have a good day.